All right, so are you ready to dive into something pretty fascinating today?
Always up for a good deep dive. What are we looking at?
Well, we are going to be talking about Sido Muncul,
Oh, interesting.
the company behind Tolak Angin, the Indonesian herbal medicine.
Yeah.
We've got articles, research, the whole shebang.
Awesome.
And I think the mission today is to kind of understand how they took this traditional remedy and made it such a success.
It's quite a story.
Yeah, blending the ancient wisdom with some really savvy business moves.
Exactly.
And I can't wait to get into their factory. It's supposed to be like state of the art.
Oh, wow.
But first, the news that kind of sparked this whole deep dive.
Yeah, well, you're probably talking about Sido Muncul's director, Irwan Hidayat.
Yeah,
He just received an honorary doctorate
I saw that.
in branding from a very prestigious university.
For Jamu.
For marketing, Jamu, no less.
I know. When I
Oh.
saw that headline, I was like, a doctorate for Jamu?
Right.
That's amazing. But then I realized, I don't really know what Jamu is.
Mm.
So maybe for those of us who are not familiar, can you give us like a little Jamu 101?
Sure. Jamu is basically traditional Indonesian herbal medicine. It's got a long and rich history going back centuries.
Wow.
And it's a holistic system. Uses all natural ingredients, roots, leaves, spices, all kinds of things.
Interesting.
And it's used to address a whole range of health concerns. And what's really fascinating is it's so deeply ingrained in Indonesian culture. It's been passed down through generations.
So it's not just some new health fad. This is the real deal.
The real deal.
Deeply rooted in tradition.
Absolutely.
I was really interested to see how Sido Muncul, particularly under Irwan's leadership, took something so traditional and made it relevant for today.
Right.
But it sounds like the early days were tough.
Definitely. The company really struggled at first. In fact, Irwan talks about trying to copy competitors, and that obviously didn't work.
That never works.
Never works.
So what was the turning point for them?
Well, it seems like Irwan realized that they needed to be leaders, not followers. So instead of trying to fit in, they decided to focus on what made them unique.
Yeah.
And that started with Tolak Angin, their flagship product.
Makes sense.
Yeah, they poured resources into research, gave the packaging a total makeover, and really focused on PR.
It's like the classic business makeover.
Yeah, but there's a lot more to it than just a fresh coat of paint.
I was going to say.
One of Irwan's boldest moves was actually deciding to pursue clinical trials.
For Tolak Angin.
For Tolak Angin. Yeah, this was basically unheard of for Jamu at the time.
Really? I'm curious, why were clinical trials so important?
So these trials, they involved really rigorous testing,
Okay.
often in like a double-blind format. So neither the participants nor the researchers knew who was getting the real deal and who was getting a placebo.
Oh, wow.
This was huge because it helped to demonstrate that the product was effective.
I see.
And they did it in a way that actually aligned with modern scientific standards.
Oh, so that's how they kind of bridged the gap between tradition and science.
Exactly. At the time, a lot of people thought Jamu was just a folk remedy.
Right.
But by putting Tolak Angin through these trials, it kind of showed this commitment to quality.
And earn trust.
And earn consumer trust.
Yeah.
You got it.
That's smart. And it wasn't just about proving the product worked. It's about showing that they were serious about quality.
Exactly.
And it wasn't just the product itself, right? He revolutionized how they made Tolak Angin, too.
Yeah. They went from this pretty basic facility to a full-on pharmaceutical-grade factory.
In the articles, they called it state-of-the-art.
State-of-the-art, advanced labs, super strict quality control.
So they didn't just scale up. They upgraded everything.
Yeah, it was a statement about raising the bar for Jamu in general.
I see.
So they're serious about this.
Yeah. So much focus on the research and production, but they also needed to get people excited about it.
Right, and this is where Irwan's marketing skills really come into play.
Okay.
He got the power of storytelling, building that emotional connection with the consumer. And instead of using all this fancy marketing jargon or making big promises, he turned to the people who knew Tolak Angin best.
You mean?
The people who actually used it.
They use customer testimonials.
Bingo!
That's so cool.
They had real people talking about their experiences with the product.
So it's all about authenticity.
Authenticity, letting the product speak for itself through real voices.
That's smart, especially when you're dealing with something so steeped in tradition.
Right.
I mean, I'm way more likely to listen to someone's personal story than some fancy ad.
Absolutely. It's about trust and relatability.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like word of mouth, but on a grand scale.
I like it.
And it's worked wonders. It's set them apart in a crowded market and really solidified them as a leader in the jamu industry.
You know, honestly, before doing this deep dive, I wouldn't have thought branding was so important for a traditional product like this.
Yeah, but if we zoom out a bit, we can see this isn't just about Sido Muncul.
Okay.
There's this growing global interest in natural and traditional remedies in general.
Yeah, people are looking for alternatives.
Exactly.
So Sido Muncul really
No.
tapped into something that was already there.
Exactly. By combining their heritage with modern marketing and this dedication to quality, they were perfectly poised to capitalize on this trend.
So they found a way to bring this ancient wisdom to a modern world.
They really did.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
And they did it without sacrificing what Jamu is all about. It's not just repackaging it for the global market.
Right.
It's about elevating it while staying true to its roots.
Exactly.
It's pretty amazing.
Mm.
But could this be replicated?
Now, that's a great question. So, can others do what Sido Muncul did?
Yeah. Can other traditional products or practices replicate that success? Like, is there a secret formula for modernizing tradition?
Well, there's no magic bullet,
Mm-hmm.
but their journey does offer some good insights.
Okay, lay it on me. What are the key takeaways?
First off, they really showed how important quality and scientific validation are.
Okay.
By going all in on research and clinical trials.
Right?
They really addressed the skepticism head on and built trust with a much bigger audience.
It's like they're saying, hey, we respect the tradition, but we're serious about making sure this stuff actually works.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And that's crucial for getting into mainstream markets where people want proof.
They want evidence. They don't just
Exactly.
want to take your word for it.
Yeah, they want to know what they're buying is legit.
That makes total sense.
Mhm.
Quality is non-negotiable.
Yeah,
But we also talked about the storytelling aspect.
right.
And in my experience, traditional medicine is usually marketed based on heritage and like how long it's been around.
Sure.
But Sido Muncul, they brought in personal stories. How did that work for them?
It's a great point. You see, they tapped into those personal narratives
Okay.
that people connect with real experiences.
Right.
So instead of just relying on the science or traditional claims, they let the product speak for itself.
Through the voices of the people who actually use it.
Exactly.
So it's not just about information. It's about creating a story that people can really connect with.
Exactly. It's about turning customers into brand ambassadors, letting them share their experiences.
It's powerful stuff. When you hear others rave about something, especially people like you're more likely to believe it.
Exactly. It builds trust and credibility.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you think that approach would work for any product, though?
You know, you can't have people sharing heartwarming stories about industrial machinery.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
You're right. The storytelling needs to fit the product,
No.
but the main idea is the same. Find a way to connect with your audience emotionally.
Right.
Figure out what makes them tick, what they need, what they want, and then build your story around that.
Okay. So we've got quality storytelling, understanding your audience. What else should businesses think about when they're trying to modernize traditional products?
Adaptability is key. It's not about erasing the tradition. It's about finding ways to present it so it makes sense to modern consumers.
I see.
So maybe rethink the packaging, explore new marketing like social media, or even just update the language you use to describe the product.
So make it accessible, but keep the essence. It's finding that balance between respecting the heritage and appealing to a modern audience.
And Sido Muncul did a great job of that.
They really did. They kept the heart of Jamu while also elevating its presentation and communication.
It's pretty remarkable.
It is. It shows tradition and modernity don't have to clash. They can actually work together.
Absolutely.
But let's be real. Not every traditional product or practice is going to be the next Tolak Angin.
That's true. Some traditions are so tied to a specific culture that it's hard to make them work elsewhere.
Like certain rituals or ceremonies.
Exactly. And then there's sustainability to think about.
Okay.
If demand explodes, can the traditional production methods keep up?
Right, without sacrificing quality or overusing resources.
Right. Something to consider.
So there's a lot to think about when bringing tradition into the modern world.
Definitely careful planning, smart execution, and a deep understanding of both the tradition and your target market.
It's not just a new label on an old product.
No, it's much deeper than that. It's about understanding, adapting, innovating, but always respecting the core of what makes that tradition unique.
Well said. Sido Muncul's experience is a great example for anyone looking to do this.
It really highlights both the potential and the challenges of merging tradition and modernity.
Well, let's bring it back to our listeners for a second. Why should they care about all of this?
Because this isn't just about selling herbal medicine.
Okay.
It's about the power of innovation, preserving culture, and showing that ancient wisdom can still thrive today.
I like that. So for businesses or individuals who are inspired by this, What can they take away from it?
It shows that by blending heritage and modern practices, you can create something really unique and special.
Something that has real meaning.
Exactly.
So it's a call to action then, an invitation to think about how we can preserve and share our own traditions in ways that make a difference.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing the value of our heritage and finding new ways to make it relevant and accessible.
It's about telling the stories that connect us to our past and inspire us for the future.
You got it.
I love that. It's like saying the past has something to offer the present, and it's up to us to figure out how to bridge that gap.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe the next big global success story is just waiting to be rediscovered?
Now that's a thought-provoking idea.
Yeah.
Speaking of thought-provoking, I think it's time we shifted gears a bit.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about the business side of all this, but I'm curious to explore the cultural impact of Sido Muncul's success. You know, it's really inspiring to think about the ripple effect this could have.
Yeah.
Imagine more traditional products and practices getting their chance to shine on like a global stage.
Right.
It's like there's all these hidden gems just waiting to be discovered.
Absolutely. That's what makes this so exciting. It's not just business.
Right.
It's about culture and sustainability and connecting the world in new ways.
Okay. Maybe I'm getting a little philosophical here.
No, I think you're onto something.
But there's definitely a deeper meaning to all of this.
There is. It reminds us that progress doesn't have to mean ditching tradition.
Yeah.
We can actually embrace our heritage and create something truly new and impactful.
It's not an either situation.
Nope.
It's about finding that sweet spot where tradition and modernity come together.
And that's where the magic happens.
I like that.
We can tap into the wisdom of the past to make a better future.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive. We started with a news story about an honorary doctorate.
I know, right?
And now we're talking about the power of tradition in the modern world.
It's amazing what you can learn when you really dig into something.
It is. And we've uncovered some great insights along the way.
For sure. For both businesses and individuals.
Let's do a quick recap for everyone listening. What are the main takeaways from Sido Muncul's success?
Well, first off, quality is key.
Yeah.
They didn't just rely on Jamu's traditional reputation. They put in the work to prove it scientifically.
Through research and clinical trials.
Exactly, which helped them gain trust with a much wider audience.
And they didn't stop there.
No, they took it a step further and completely overhauled their production process.
Yeah, making sure they were meeting the highest standards possible.
Exactly. It's like they said, we're not messing around.
We're taking this seriously.
From start to finish.
And then there's the storytelling aspect.
Oh, yeah, they nailed that.
They knew people respond to authentic experiences.
Right?
So they used customer testimonials
Smart.
to show the real benefits of Tolak Engine.
In a way that people could relate to.
Exactly. It was more than just information. It was real people sharing their stories.
It made the product more personal.
Yeah, it gave it a personality, a connection to real life.
Exact.
And we can't forget how they adapted to the modern market without losing their roots.
They found ways to make Jamu more appealing to a modern audience.
Through packaging and marketing.
But they never lost sight of its heritage.
It was a tough balance, but they did it.
They did it well.
And finally, we have to mention that their success aligns with this global trend,
Right.
this growing interest in natural remedies.
People are looking for alternatives.
And Sido Muncul was ready.
They were ready. By combining heritage, modern marketing, and that focus on quality, they really capitalized on this.
It's like they cracked the code,
They did.
bringing ancient wisdom to a modern audience.
Pretty impressive.
It is. Before we wrap up, though, I want to leave everyone with something to think about.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about Sido Muncul, but what about all those other traditional products and practices out there?
The ones that haven't had their chance yet.
Exactly. What about them?
That's a good question. And it's one we should all be asking. How can we apply these lessons to other things? How can we support those who are trying to preserve and share their traditions?
Because this is about more than just products and profits, right?
Way more.
It's about celebrating our heritage, connecting with other cultures, and making the world a richer place.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And Sido Muncul's story has shown us that we can do all of that.
And build a successful business at the same time.
So to everyone listening, think about the traditions that matter to you.
Yeah.
How can you help them thrive in today's world?
What stories can you share? What kind of impact can you make?
That's a great place to leave it, I think.
Yeah.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep the conversation going